Well, as Nigeria slowly ushers in 2019, the Director General of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Muda Yusuf, has been speaking on some of the factors he feels will be largely responsible for the growth of the Nigerian economy. Yusuf says the economy will again be dependent on the growth of the oil and gas sector, but wants the government to also focus on infrastructures to boost other sectors of the economy.
The forecast will depend on what, it has to be a conditional forecast. Conditional in the sense that the economy is still largely dependent on the oil and gas sector. So whatever we expect in terms of growth or economic performance will have to depend on what happens in the oil industry. The oil market specifically, it depends on what happens with oil price. It depends on what happens with oil output. Because there's a correlation over the years and from research that once we see an upward swing in oil price, we also see a positive impact on GDP performance. So if the oil price goes up, we are likely to see very good performance in terms of our GDP growth. But if oil price drops, we are likely to see a very serious systemic effects, not just on GDP growth, but on all other key economic variables, such as exchange rate and inflation. So so whatever forecast we make has to be conditional on what happens to the oil price and oil output. Slow recovery is because the productivity in the economy is very low. Productivity, especially in the non-oil sector of the economy. So the challenge is that of productivity. And productivity is a function of the environment that you create. It's a function of the infrastructure that you have. It's a function of your the financing capacity, the kind of financing structure that you have. It's a function of your tax policy. It's a function of your monetary policy, your interest rate policy, your trade policy. So it's a function of so many things. But what is important is that the non-oil sector still have it's not performing as well as it should, and that is why we haven't seen the kind of dramatic improvements in growth. If we're able to invest more in the infrastructure, if we're able to put in place reforms that will allow for more injection of private capital into this economy, I'm sure there will be a lot more impact on growth than what we are witnessing currently.